Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the Behavioral Health Queen. And yes, this is a Behavioral Health Talks with Dr. TK. I'm here this morning with the actual podcast slash TikTok again on Stop Feeding the Beast. Real leadership for real impact. You guys will see me look back and forth. Pay that no mind. I'm actually keeping up with two platforms this morning. So come on in and join me. I'm your host, Dr. Teranda Knight. I'm a doctor of behavioral health, founder and CEO of Virtually Renowned Consulting Access. And today's episode is one that you don't want to skip. So come on in and join me this morning. I would love to engage with you guys and hear what you have to say. Because we're going to talk about what it really takes to lead in behavioral health and higher education without burnout, selling out, or feeding into a broken system. Okay, I'm going to say that again. We're going to talk about this morning what it really takes to lead in behavioral health and higher education without burnout, sellout, or feeding into the system. So thanks for joining me this morning. Tap on that screen. Go ahead and get logged in. Go ahead and claim your status. Follow me if you have not or not following me. Get those points that you guys so valuably deserve. So yes, thank you this morning. Show some love. Um, and remember, I am going back and forth from one platform to the other. So TikTok and Podbean. So if you know someone that's on Podbean, they can join me live over there as well and comment. And I will hopefully be able to engage with both. We're going to see how well I do today. So I call this episode Stop Feeding the Beast because basically that's my brand. Never feed the beast, work hard, stay peaceful. And we find many times in leadership that's hard to do, regardless of what your status or title is, or where you find yourself in that leadership space. If you're coming in and joining me, definitely click the screen, show some love, follow me, and yeah, go ahead and get your points in. But yeah, the first part today that I want to talk about is the beast we're really talking about, right? Because the beast could be anything. The beast could be a person, the beast could be a system, the beast could be um, an object. The beast literally can be many things. But today I just want to talk about some of the various areas that people have identified as being the beast, but really don't talk about it enough. So the beast is a culture that's basically of chaos. And many times when we're looking at this, so many people get stuck in this fact of the beast is a reactive leadership. Leadership that decides to react to things or basically instead of creating a process or a cycle that can help them be more successful than just reacting. Because reacting is like not really thinking about it. And imagine if you're burnout, right? I taught psychology for 10 years, and one of the biggest things we always encourage is to uh, go at things with the clearest state of mind you can possibly have, as calm as you can, so that you can stay focused on the things you need to. So, burnout cycles, performing strategy without actually having it. So, when we're looking at the beast in higher education and behavioral health care, we see it constantly. Leaders are burned out in bureaucracy. Teams disengage, they get confused and misaligned. We got mission statements with no execution plans. We got crisis after crisis with no time to pause or improve. So think about that. You going into your roles, your positions where you are, know that leadership is not an easy task. It's not something that says that you're a leader just because you're a vice president, director, supervisor. Leaders can be anyone. So, and we start believing in the fact that it's just how leadership works. Leadership that is what's good enough is basically what we see a lot of times, what is considered to be just good enough. So let me be clear, it's not that. And we should really take into heart the importance of not just being mediocre in leadership. Identifying when our processes and systems are not working as they should and utilizing that capability to make change. Change is one of the biggest things we suffer with as a society, because we don't want to change ourselves. And we want to change ourselves means we don't really care too much about changing the systems that we're working in or with, right? We're just used to doing the same thing. Most leadership frameworks out there is similar but different in many ways. They aren't just built for the complexity we're dealing with in integrated behavioral healthcare or the multi-layered educational institutions. And so when we're looking at these things, they weren't designed with a couple of things in mind. It wasn't designed with trauma informed care models in design. Um, it wasn't designed with interdisciplinary decision making in mind. And it definitely wasn't created with the sheer volume of the idea of change we face week to week in mind. So those are some just three of the things that I wanted to identify today that really doesn't, get accounted for when we're looking into the aspects of leadership. So what happens? You end up with leaders managing chaos. You got leaders that's not leading people. Okay. And when I say that, when you're leading people, people want to follow you. They want to do what you do and how you do it. A lot of times they admire you, right? And there are those that really admire you and those that pretend to admire you. And it's okay. Sometimes people don't know the difference between the two, but they both exist. It shouldn't matter about that. We shouldn't need support to be leaders. Leaders is just showing up and being consistent every day because your audience is out there somewhere and you just have to find them. So creating you a checklist and basically some sense of form of basis of compliance around your checklist, but making sure that it's clear, that it clarifies really who you are, what you stand for, what you're trying to do, and what you want to see transform. Because transforming is what really has to take a leadership on a constant basis in order for us to be doing the things that's needed in society so that we're able to grow and succeed like we need to. So the framework that changes the game is one that when I research things, it helped me identify with certain aspects of leaders and the things that help them be successful. So this first type of leader is grow. And this leader here builds really strong roots, mostly because they focus on a lot of genuine relationships and they're pretty resilient and they take anything as an opportunity, but they also focus on well being as exceptionally important to them. So we start by stripping away the noise. We want to actually ask the question, what are you actually trying to grow? Right? So, as a leader, what are you trying to grow? When we use Lean Six Sigma processes to actually map out things at where they are in their current state and identify those potential gaps that are there, we can help leaders focus more on what really matters. And that's the thing. So you're not just running about around being reactive. You actually know what you're working on and what you're trying to change. All right. So lead is the next one. And lead is important mostly because it focuses a lot on train and transform. And this is where we get the real about your team's behavior and their thought processes and where they are and not just their roles. Okay, so lead. Are they equipped to make strategic level decisions? Are they really equipped? And are you leading with process or are you leading by emotion? Because most people lead by emotion. And that's why they get worked up. You can't focus when things don't go their way or when things don't pan out like they're supposed to. You have to realize that those things are okay. It's identifying at that point, all right, what are we going to do next? Yeah, is that part. What are we going to do next? And that's the key. Um, the next one is impact. Impact is basically measures what matters. How do we measure what really matters? Okay, we can do a survey, we can ask people, but at the end of the day, are they really going to be honest? Who knows, right? All we can do is put the effort into exploring those potential areas with them and seeing what they say so we can see how we can navigate things. We teach leaders how to use real data to drive decisions, and that's research. That was one of my biggest things when I taught was research. Research is exceptionally important to our field, and not just our field, but all fields. You wouldn't have toilet paper today if someone didn't do research. Okay, you wouldn't have light bulbs that work if someone didn't do research. You wouldn't have the vocabulary you have if someone did not do research. Your fashion is created off of research. So these are all things that where people don't find it to be interesting, they do find it to be interesting because they really do change who they are to acclimate to the changes that occur, whether it's hairstyles, makeup, clothing, whatever the case may be. Some people may look at me and say, you know what, she doesn't really look like a leader. She doesn't look like she was an adjunct professor before. She doesn't look like she was an employee assistance counselor consultant. She doesn't even look old enough to have had jobs long enough to be on here talking to us. Those are the norms of human behavior. We are taught to think that way. We're conditioned to think that way. And we lose many family members because of these processes and thoughts that they have. Helpless, hopeless, and worthless are all created from conditioned thought processes in people that engage in supporting that behavior. So, when we're thinking about impact, I'm talking really about engagement, alignment, and outcomes because that's the core thing here. Where you're dealing with anything in which has the potential to bring change, you want to know what type of change, how can we get it to change, and what does that change look out like. Burnout is not a badge of honor, you guys. It's really not. Some organizations see someone burn out and want to give them awards because they feel like that's going to keep them there. That's not good leadership. Okay, we should never want to overexert people to obtain something in an organization, and many times they really aren't attaining what they want to. So, if your leadership model isn't sustainable, is not working, we can help leaders embed the plan, do, study, act cycle into everyday practice so that change doesn't just happen, it sticks. When you're planning and you're doing and you're studying, that's important. Those of you that are joining, go ahead and click on the screen. Join me, follow me, get your points, and don't forget about those. You know what I've learned about this whole live thing is that you could tell when you have real people that come visit you versus those fake accounts that's just coming to spy on you because they never click the screen, right? When you actually get real people that want to engage and is here for the right reason, they don't just linger around, they click on the screen. And I think that's something we need to learn about this whole social media thing as well. Um, when you have real people following you that are legitimately there to support you, you'll see it. When you don't, and they're trying to deter you, they're trying to negatively impact your success, they never really engage. They don't follow, they don't click any likes or loves to anything. They're not showing real success. They're just here, right? It's all like that old saying, flies on the wall. So you guys don't be flies on the wall. Just click the screen support, or it's okay. Just keep moving past. It's fine. It's nothing to see here, guys. That type of mindset. But yeah, who needs this the most? So this episode is especially for people that is in roles such as program directors, their deans and department heads in higher education. Now, when we talk about program directors, they could be in behavioral health. They're really exhausted about what the system is doing. or they could be those program directors that are in healthcare or in higher ed, and they're also burnt out and tired of this non-ending cycle of lack of change. So when we think about the deans and department heads in higher education who are ready to ditch reactive leadership, that's who this is for. Emerging leaders, people that want to be leaders, who want to build their skill set without losing themselves in the process. Because the core aspect of the Never Feed the Beast, Work Hard, Stay Peaceful, is learning who you are, how to stay strong in who you are, and use your skill set and leverage it in your workplace to drive change and improvement. Listen, Never Feed the Beast is more than a tagline. It's a philosophy, you guys. We don't play with dysfunction. Dysfunction is what leads to suicides. Dysfunction leads to homicides. It leads to people getting hurt. Dysfunction also leads to people not being able to complete tasks, and it impacts their health on a wide scale. So we lead differently, we lead peacefully, but we lead strategically. We lead with vision, we lead with transformation. We lead with structure because that's important. Now, when you guys really look at what Never Feed the Beast is, what leadership really is, it's not a hard thing to really grasp your mind around. So if this, what I've talked about today, has really spoken to you, if you're tired of surface level change, ready to transform your leadership culture, I want you to do three things. Follow this podcast if you haven't already, and that's on Podbean. Or you can go to my social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, or here on TikTok. Share this episode with one leader who needs to hear it, that you feel like it could be a really good support to them. Book a discovery call, a session with me. Find out, I like to call it a strategy session because that's what it really is. It's a strategy session with myself. And let's talk about how you can work on utilizing this framework: grow, lead, impact, and scale. Now, before I go, because I wanted today to be one of my short podcasts and TikTok lives for the week, is you were never meant to survive in broken systems. And I'm going to say that again. You were never meant to survive in broken systems because we're constantly educating people, we're constantly training people. And if you can't make it, then guess what happens? They're just going to hurt someone else. So we want you to make it. We want you to be successful. We don't want you to end up with health concerns that impact your career because your health professionals don't really understand what's going on because they're treating it from a one-sided spectrum instead of a holistic approach. If you follow me here on TikTok, you'll see a post that I did recently. And yes, I did. Did it really fast at first because I was testing the rain to see if getting people to actually view it again would increase views. So I took that strategy first just to see where that would go, and then I did it again, but I slowed it down so you can actually read it. So go read it. It basically outlines the process of what we should be looking at as leaders. If you are not feeling well, if you know you are sluggish, confused, um, feeling fatigued during the day, stop normalizing those behaviors because they're leading up to things that can be detrimental to your life and your health. Go seek help, but seek it the right way. Primary care, behavioral health specialist. Primary care, behavioral health specialist, and then dietitian if there's any lab work that's found to be abnormal or any test that's found to be abnormal at the dietitian. But utilize this approach before just jumping on medications because medications isn't going to give you what caused the problem in the first place, which is nutritional deficits. If you're not treating the nutritional deficits, the medication is only masking the problem, which means it won't work as they say it will. For some people, medicines do work, but it has several side effects to it. Why cause yourself to have to take more medication or more treatments when you could just change your dietary factors, improve your nutrition, and give your body what it needs to function and survive? And the key thing about a dietitian is they help put you on a schedule to help keep your blood sugars regulated so that you can maintain good weight levels. Now, weight isn't everything. Weight doesn't determine whether you end up with hypertension, diabetes, or any cancers, to be honest with you. If that's the case, anyone that's small wouldn't have those things. Okay? So think about that. And remember, you were meant to lead with strategy, you were meant to lead in peace, and you were meant to lead with power. But good, healthy power, not the power that's negative, not the power that's going to lead to burnout, not the power that's going to lead to power struggles in which nobody succeeds at what the true goal is. And that's what my services is about, helping you learn who you are, leverage who you are, so you don't have to take these approaches and tactics when you are actually navigating through your leadership exploration. So thank you guys for joining me. Definitely go to my website, www.virtuallyrenownedconsultingaccess LLC. Support the brand through my shop. It's listed as Treat Yourself because that's what you're doing, treating yourself and spreading the word, because the more people we can help remain peaceful and calm, the more we're able to control things like suicide, homicides, and other levels of criminal activity that people just fail to realize is associated with the fact that when you're not able to be strong in who you are, okay, and leverage who you are in spaces where you're valued, then you get pushed against the wall. It's like learned helplessness, where the dog just keeps running. He knows the door was once there, but it's not there anymore, and he can't get out. But he keeps running to that space trying to get out. That's learned helplessness. You keep doing it until you feel like there's no way out. And no one should ever feel that way, right? We should all be here to support each other. We should all be here to basically help each one of us be the great leaders we can be, because we all can be great leaders. Many of you are great leaders here on TikTok. Yeah, I see you. So, once again, thanks for joining, and I look forward to seeing you guys come back.